But we realize that both are correct in their own ways. Similarly, these schools of thought, four that we have, actually there were many tens and hundreds of imams and scholars. These four, Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik, Imam Shafi, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, may Allah have mercy on them all. May Allah grant them Jannat al-Firdaus to all. They were more popular, or maybe their students made them popular. There were many other imams, many other sheikhs, many other scholars. But these four, their teachings became more popular. Maybe the students made it more popular. And that's how we have these four major madhabs. But all these four great scholars and four aimmas, they never came to bring a division in the Muslim Ummah. They explained their point of view. Because if it's very clear cut in the Quran, there is no problem at all. If it's clear cut in the Hadith, the difference comes when there is a difference of opinion. Now, why is there a difference of opinion? I will discuss that. Previously, I used to think, okay, fine, maybe the difference is in the Hadith. Some people say Sahih Hadith, some people Zaif Hadith. That is the difference. That is not the real answer. That may be in some cases. After meeting so many fuqahas and scholars of the different madhahib, I've come with this example of the spelling or the example of pronunciation. So similarly, these madhahib differ. What is the major reason? According to my study, there is usul fiqh, that in areas where it is not very clear cut, Quran says alcohol is haram, there is no fiqh in it. Allah says haram, it's haram. So no one will differ allowed or not allowed. So that's common. Where there is difference in understanding the Quran or the Hadith, etc., then the fiqh starts. So as far as usul fiqh is concerned, there are different criteria for giving your ruling on fiqh. Some may have 5 criteria, some may have 6, some may have 7, some may have 9, some may have even 10. I will not discuss in detail, time does not permit and difficult for common man to understand. I'll just give you a few examples for better understanding. Number one difference is difference in the criteria. As far as the first 2 criteria are concerned, it is the same. Number one criteria in all madhahib, all schools of thought, it is Quran. Number one, there is no difference in it. Number 2 is the mutawatir hadith. All the schools of thought believe that number 2 criteria for fiqh is the mutawatir hadith. What is the mutawatir hadith? There are various different classifications of hadith. One of the classifications is depending upon the narrators, the chain of narrators. Mutawatir hadith means a hadith in which there are various chains of narrators in every generation. That means that hadith has been narrated by many sahabas who heard the Prophet say that. Then the next generation tabain, there are many tabains who repeated that hadith. Then the tabain, many tabain repeated that hadith. So in every generation there are many narrators. So in one of the classification of hadith, it is based on narrators. It is maybe a gharib hadith, a single chain of hadith. Then there's ahad hadith. One narrator is there at any one stage, only one narrator. For example, the very famous hadith, the first hadith of Sahih Bukhari, Umar radiallahu anh, he said, that the Prophet said, Innamal amal binniyah. Your actions are based on your intention. All you find this hadith in Bukhari, in Muslim, in various books of hadith, but there's only one Sahaba who narrated it. So if any of the stages, where the stage of Sahaba or the Tabain or Tabain, any of the stages of narration, if any of the stages have only one narrator comment in all the hadith, it becomes ahad hadith. So there are various chain of narrators, but all the narrators end to Umar radiallahu anh, and then Umar radiallahu anh narrated what the Prophet said. So it becomes the ahad hadith. It may be a mashhur hadith, there may be 2 or 3 narrators, and it keeps on various categories. The highest category is mutawatir. That means several narrators at every stage. That means every stage have many narrators. Number is not fixed, there has to be more than 4 or 5. Every stage. Some are 20, some are 30 at every stage. So number 1 is the Quran. Number 2 is the mutawatir hadith. All the schools of thought agree that the number 2 highest category of evidence after the Quran is the mutawatir hadith. Third category onwards the third criteria of evidence differs in different schools of thought. Some have 5 criteria, some have 6, some have 7, some have 10 criteria. In some schools of thought, the third criteria, highest criteria of evidence, is even ahad hadith. As long as it's a sahih hadith, even ahad, no problem. It can be a mashhur hadith, it is the third highest. In some schools of thought, no. The third after the mutawatir hadith is the urf, is the custom. That if the people of Medina did this act, it is the custom, it is the third highest, higher than even a sahih hadith, which is the ahad hadith. Some will say no, it is qiyas, analogy. So different schools of thought have different criteria in order. First 2 is the same, the third may be a sahih ahad hadith, some may say no, urf, the custom, some may say qiyas, analogy. Other group, the fourth becomes ahad hadith, the fourth becomes custom in some schools of thought. So from the third onward, it differs. So based on this difference, some may prefer custom as a higher. So if it is not there in the Quran, if it is not there mutawatir hadith, it is an ahad hadith. So this school of thought is ahad hadith. The other says it is an ahad hadith, but it is not there in the urf. So I will not believe. I will give urf more importance, custom more importance. So the differences arise in what you give more importance to. Do you give importance more to urf, the custom? Do you give more importance to qiyas, analogy? Or do you give more importance to ahad hadith? From third level, it keeps on differing in different schools of thought. So because of that, what you give more importance to differs. That's how the ruling differs. But all these rulings are minor. What we have to understand, that we have to respect the ruling of all the 4 schools of thought. Because all the 4 schools of thought are based on Quran, they are based on hadith, but the level of importance may differ. Some schools of thought say, they may have a criteria. If you're talking about salah, it should be a mutawatir hadith. Because salah, the Prophet prayed in public, almost all the sahabas saw him. So if you give about salah, ahad hadith, though it is sahih, I will not follow. If it is salah, it has to be evidence for mutawatir hadith, otherwise I will not follow. That is their thinking. You may agree, you may not agree. You may say no, it's ahad hadith, one sahaba reported it, it is sufficient for me. It's a sahih hadith, fulfills the criteria of sahih, it is sufficient for me. Other school of thought say no, if it's other matter, I will believe in ahad hadith. But salah, such an important thing, Prophet prayed every day, 5 times a day, it should be a mutawatir hadith. Difference of opinion. So how do you differ? So the third and the fourth and the fifth level of criteria, after the first 2 differ, this is the reason why the major difference is there in the 4 schools of thought. It may be difficult for people to understand.